First contact under fire. The alert klaxon shattered the quiet hum of Jupiter Outpost 7's command center. Admiral Kira Chen, commander of Earth's Deep Space Defense Network, jerked her head up from the deployment reports she'd been reviewing. In 15 years of service, she'd never heard that particular alarm. Report, she snapped, striding toward the central holographic display where her officers were frantically working. Lieutenant Commander Vega's fingers danced across his console. Unknown vessel, ma'am. It just dropped out of FTL at the edge of Saturn's orbit. Trajectory suggests it's heading inward toward Earth. Mass and signature don't match any known configuration. Chen frowned. Humanity had been exploring the stars for nearly 50 years, establishing colonies on Mars and Europa, mining operations throughout the asteroid belt, and research stations as far out as Pluto. They'd encountered exactly 0 intelligent alien species, despite finding abundant microbial life on several exoplanets. Most scientists had concluded that while life was common, intelligence like humanity's was exceptionally rare. First contact protocols, Chen ordered, her voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. Alert Earth Command. I want every sensor we have tracking that vessel. The holographic display zoomed in on the unidentified craft. It was massive, at least a kilometer in length, with an unusual organic-looking design that featured sweeping, asymmetrical curves. More concerning were the visible signs of damage along its hull. Ma'am, the vessel is leaking radiation consistent with weapons fire. Whatever it is, it's been in a battle, said Lieutenant Wu from the tactical station. Weapons status, Chen asked. Detecting energy signatures that could be weapon systems, but they appear dormant. The ship's power output is fluctuating wildly. I'd say it's severely damaged. The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. Earth's Security Council convened an emergency session. Military vessels were deployed in defensive formations. First contact specialists from the United Nations Exo-Relations Division were shuttled to Jupiter Outpost 7, which had the best-equipped quarantine facilities in the solar system. Dr. Maya Okafor, Earth's leading xenolinguist, arrived with her team just as the vessel established orbit around Ganymede, Jupiter's largest moon. They're broadcasting, Vega announced. Some kind of signal on multiple frequencies. Dr. Okafor leaned over his shoulder. It's a first contact package. Mathematical sequences, atomic structures, standard universal language markers. They're trying to communicate. Admiral Chen nodded. Send our response package. It took 13 hours for the translation algorithms to establish basic communication. When they did, the message sent chills down Chen's spine. We are the last refugees of Altair. Our homeworld has fallen. The Krell-Fac Dominion pursues us. We seek asylum. We can offer knowledge, technology. Please help. They are coming. The debate was immediate and heated. General Harrison from Earth Command saw a trap. Convenient, isn't it? They lead their enemies right to our doorstep, forcing us to fight their war. Or they genuinely need help, countered UN Representative Mbeki. If we turn them away, we're condemning them to extinction. What does that say about humanity? Admiral Chen remained silent during the debate, studying the sensor readings from the alien vessel. Nearly 8,000 life forms aboard. Power systems failing. Life support operating at minimal capacity. Permission to send a boarding party, she finally requested. Medical personnel, engineers, and a security detail. If this is a trap, we should know. If not, basic humanity demands we render aid. After another 2 hours of debate, permission was granted. Chen led the team herself. The interior of the vessel was like nothing she'd ever seen. Corridors that seemed grown rather than built, lighting that adjusted to human vision without prompting. The Altarians themselves were bipedal but clearly alien. Tall, slender beings with 4 arms, iridescent skin, and large, expressive eyes set wide in elongated faces. Their leader, who introduced himself as High Sentinel Zura, greeted them with a gesture that their cultural specialists interpreted as profound respect. You came, Zara said through the translator. Many would not. The Altarian story emerged piece by piece. An ancient, peaceful species, they had encountered the Krell-Thak Dominion 2 solar years ago. The Krell-Thak were a militant, expansionist empire who viewed all other intelligent life as either subjects to be conquered or threats to be eliminated. The Altarians, with their advanced biotechnology and resource-rich planets, were deemed too dangerous to subjugate. Systematic genocide followed. Billions dead. A civilization thousands of years old nearly wiped out. This vessel contains our seed bank, our knowledge archives, and the last 8,000 of our kind, Zara explained. We detected your radio signals decades ago. We hoped your species might show compassion where others showed only fear. How far behind you are these Krell-Thak? Chen asked. 3 solar days, perhaps 4. Their battle fleet is formidable. 37 war vessels. We damaged their flagship in our escape, which has slowed them, but they will come. They always come. Chen returned to Outpost 7 with the information and samples of Altarian technology freely given by Zara. The biotechnology alone was centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. Medical nanites that could cure most human diseases, organic computing systems that made Earth's quantum computers look primitive, energy systems that could revolutionize human civilization overnight. The Security Council deliberated for less than an hour before reaching a decision. Earth would grant asylum to the Altarian refugees. Inform them they may land on Ganymede. Our facilities there can accommodate them while we prepare more permanent arrangements, the UN Secretary-General instructed. And Admiral Chen, prepare our defenses. If these Krell-Thak follow the Altarians here, they'll find that humans protect their friends. Over the next 3 days, Earth's military mobilized on a scale not seen since the resource wars a century earlier. Colonial defense fleets were recalled. Mothballed vessels were hastily recommissioned. The Altarians, grateful for humanity's protection, shared defensive technologies that were quickly adapted to human vessels. On the morning of the 4th day, long-range sensors detected multiple FTL signatures approaching the solar system. 39 vessels, Vega reported. Configuration unknown, but energy signatures are consistent with the weapons damage on the Altarian ship. They've added 2 more ships to their pursuit fleet, Chen murmured. She opened a channel to Earth Command. The Krell-Thak have arrived. All defensive fleets move to predetermined positions. This is not a drill. As the alien armada decelerated at the edge of the solar system, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the EDS Intrepid, flagship of Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet. Alongside the 40 human military vessels were 3 Altarian refugee ships, now repaired and armed with a combination of human and Altarian technology. They're broadcasting, Communications Officer Park announced. A harsh, guttural voice filled the bridge, translated in real time by the Altarian language matrix. Attention primitive species. This is Supreme Commander Drakor of the Krell-Thak Dominion. You harbor fugitives from our justice. Surrender them immediately or face eradication. You have 1 planetary rotation to comply. Chen exchanged glances with High Sentinel Zara, who had joined her on the bridge as a liaison. They underestimate you, Zara said quietly. As they underestimated us, until it was too late. Chen's lips curved in a grim smile. That's going to be their second mistake. She turned to her communications officer. Open a channel. She straightened her uniform and faced the view screen. This is Admiral Kira Chen of Earth's Deep Space Defense Network. The people you pursue have been granted asylum under our laws. They are under our protection. Any hostile action against them will be considered an act of war against humanity. We do not want conflict, but we do not respond to threats. End transmission. Turning to her bridge crew, she said, Battle stations. All ships, execute defensive pattern Alpha. Let's show these Krell-Thak what happens when they threaten Earth. The Unbreakable Alliance. Supreme Commander Drakor of the Krell-Thak Dominion stared at the tactical display with 4 of his 6 eyes, while his secondary brain processed the intelligence reports. His chitinous exoskeleton creaked as he shifted his massive frame in the command throne. These humans refuse to surrender the Altarian vermin. He clicked to his executive officer. Their vessels are primitive. Their weapons are inadequate, yet they defy the Dominion. Perhaps they do not understand their situation. Supreme Commander, suggested Sub-Commander Vexnar. Their species has never encountered the glory of the Krulthak. Then we shall educate them, Drakgor decided. Deploy the fleet in standard conquest formation. Target their outer defensive installations first. Once they witness our power, they will surrender both themselves and the Altarians. The Krulthak battle fleet surged forward, their massive dreadnoughts arranged in a wedge formation designed to overwhelm any defense. Their first targets were the automated defense platforms orbiting Neptune. The platforms, however, did not behave as expected. Instead of remaining stationary, they began moving in complex, unpredictable patterns while launching thousands of tiny objects. What are these? Drakgor demanded as the objects appeared on the tactical display. Some form of primitive missile technology, Vexnar dismissed. Our shields will. He never finished the sentence. The primitive missiles suddenly accelerated to near-relativistic speeds. When they impacted the Krulthak shields, each detonated with a precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulse, tuned to the exact frequency of Krulthak shield technology. Information provided by the Altarians. 3 Krulthak vessels lost shields completely. 2 more reported significant damage. Impossible. Drakgor roared. How do they know our shield frequencies? The answer came in the form of the Altarian vessels moving to engage alongside the human fleet. The Altarians had provided humanity with more than just refuge stories. They shared everything they knew about Krulthak military technology. Admiral Chen watched from the Intrepid's bridge as the first phase of Earth's defense plan unfolded. Neptune defense platforms report 5 Krulthak vessels damaged, Lieutenant Wu announced. The rest of their fleet is adjusting formation and approach vectors. Chen nodded. They're adapting. Launch Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, concealed installations on various moons and asteroids powered up, projecting a network of quantum entanglement fields, another Altarian technology adapted by human engineers. The fields disrupted the Krulthak fleet's communications and sensor systems, effectively blinding portions of their armada. Multiple Krulthak vessels are breaking formation, Wu reported with barely contained excitement. They're firing on shadows and sensor ghosts. For 6 hours, the battle raged across the outer solar system. The Krulthak, despite their technological advantage, found themselves constantly wrong-footed by human tactics. Earth forces utilize the solar system itself as a weapon, gravitational slingshots around Jupiter, to achieve impossible attack vectors. Solar radiation from carefully positioned mirrors to disrupt enemy sensors, and asteroid field ambushes that separated and isolated enemy vessels. The Altarian ships, meanwhile, employed hit-and-run tactics, striking precisely at known weaknesses in Krulthak design, weaknesses they had paid for with billions of lives to discover. Aboard the Krulthak flagship, Supreme Commander Drakgor raged as another battlecruiser reported critical systems failure. How? They are primitives. They barely have interplanetary capability. Supreme Commander, Vexnar's voice had lost its earlier confidence. I believe we have miscalculated. These humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. They do not mass their forces for honorable combat. They trick, they hide, they strike where we are weak rather than testing their strength against ours. Cowardice. Drakgor spat. Effectiveness. Vexnar countered cautiously. We have lost 11 vessels. Another 8 are combat ineffective. We have yet to reach the inner system where their defenses are presumably strongest. And now our scouts report additional human vessels approaching from their colonies. The tide turned definitively when the Krulthak fleet approached Jupiter. Hidden within the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere, Earth engineers had constructed massive electromagnetic generators. When activated, they created an artificial magnetic storm that engulfed the leading edge of the Krelthak Formation. Navigation systems failed. Shields fluctuated. Into this chaos flew squadrons of small, agile human fighters, each armed with warheads designed by joint Altarian human science teams to penetrate Krelthak armor. Direct hit on the Krelthak flagship. Wu shouted as the tactical display showed the massive enemy vessel listing to one side, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. Chen leaned forward. Open a channel to Supreme Commander Drakor. The alien commander appeared on screen, his carapace cracked in several places, ichor leaking from one eye cluster. Supreme Commander, Chen acknowledged with cold formality. Your fleet is in disarray. You have lost over half your vessels. The remainder are damaged or isolated. We offer you one chance to retreat. Leave our system immediately. Never return. Never pursue the Altarians again. This is the only warning you will receive. The alien's mandibles clacked furiously. You dare dictate terms to the Krelthak Dominion. We have conquered 100 worlds. We have exterminated dozens of species. We will reduce your planets to ash. We will. Chen cut the transmission with a gesture. All vessels, execute final attack pattern. Target the flagship. Let's end this. The combined human-Altarian fleet converged on the damaged Krelthak flagship from multiple vectors. Their coordinated attack overwhelmed the vessel's remaining defenses. As the flagship began to break apart, the remaining Krelthak vessels scattered, some jumping immediately to FTL despite the dangers of unplanned faster-than-light travel so close to a gas giant's gravity well. Within hours, the solar system was clear of enemy vessels. Earth had suffered losses. 8 ships destroyed, 11 more severely damaged, thousands of casualties. But the Krelthak had been decisively defeated. In the aftermath, Admiral Chen stood in Ganymede Station's observation dome, beside High Sentinel Zara, watching repair crews work on damaged vessels. Your people fought with extraordinary courage, Zara said. No other species has ever defeated a Krelthak battle fleet. We had help, Chen replied, nodding toward a team of Altarian engineers working alongside humans on a damaged cruiser. Your technology, your knowledge of the enemy. But it was human ingenuity that applied that knowledge in ways we never imagined, Zara countered. The Krelthak fight with brute force and overwhelming numbers. They expect enemies to do the same. Your people, you turned asteroids into weapons, gas giants into traps, and space itself into your ally. Chen smiled slightly. Humanity has been fighting wars against superior forces throughout our history. We've learned to be creative. 3 months later, representatives from Earth and the Altarian refugees signed the Sol Altair Accord, the first interstellar alliance in human history. The agreement formalized the Altarian settlement on Ganymede and Europa, established joint research and defense initiatives, and laid groundwork for future expansion and exploration. Word of humanity's victory spread quickly through nearby star systems. The Krelthak Dominion, for the first time in its history, found itself on the defensive as other subjugated species took note of their vulnerability. 2 years later, Admiral Chen, now Fleet Admiral Chen, received a transmission from a previously unknown species calling themselves the Nixtal. They had heard of Earth's stand against the Krelthak. They too sought allies against the Dominion. As Chen prepared to welcome the third alien species to visit Earth, she reflected on how one decision, to help refugees in need, had catapulted humanity onto the galactic stage. We didn't know it at the time, she later wrote in her memoirs. But when we chose compassion over fear, when we stood against overwhelming odds to protect those who couldn't protect themselves, we weren't just saving the Altarians. We were showing the galaxy who humans truly are. And the galaxy was watching.